How can I identify a genuine note from a fake note?
Well, a genuine 50 has a watermark with the jaguar and the written words of the 50, also a thread.
Know your money and know a fake one when you see it. Do not rely on any one security feature. Look for the clarity and quality of printing. The printed lines and colors should be sharp and clear. Feel the quality of the paper and the raised print. Hold the note up to the light to see the windowed security thread. It should form one complete line when held up to the light. The watermark and denominational electrotype. The Jaguar is the watermark in the $100 and $50 notes. The Sleeping Giant is the watermark in the $20, $10, $5, and $2 notes. The see-through feature. The parts of the design printed on the back should fit exactly within the unprinted areas of the front to form the complete design. Check the $100 note for the toucan hologram with the periwinkle flower overprint. Tilt it to see the small images of the toucan and the numeral 100. Check the $50 note for the green foil angelfish. Check even closer. Use an ultraviolet light to see the fluorescent features. Use a magnifier to see the microlettering. Tiny letters that read Central Bank of Belize and the value of the note. Stop the circulation of counterfeit Belize currency notes. Pass all counterfeits to the police at once. It is a criminal offense to hold or use a counterfeit. Be safe. Be sure. Know your money.
Movies are dreams. That you never forget.
The lights change how everything looks. It's hard to find our house.
Ours is the dark house with no lights.
In this family, it's the scientists versus the artists.
What kind of movie are we gonna make?
You stop making movies, it'll break your mother's heart.
I don't know what to do anymore.
You do what your heart says you have to. What was your favorite part?
Centaur, your kind of company.
Good evening, with your news also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Police in Orange Walk are tonight investigating an armed robbery which occurred on Wednesday in the community of Carmelita. Official police reports indicate that shortly before 3 p.m. on Wednesday, Three male persons, namely 29-year-old truck driver Oscar Blanco, 30-year-old Gian Matu, and 21-year-old Hector Medina, were driving from Orange Walk to Belize City when they were intercepted by a Toyota Camry, which drove up in front of the truck and came to a sudden stop. Subsequently, three male persons exited the Toyota Camry, one of whom was armed with a firearm and the other two with knives. The trio approached the truck, opened the passenger door, and demanded money. They proceeded to rob Blanco and his associates of a company bag containing several checks, which are the property of AAA Imports and Gian Matu. The trio thereafter boarded their vehicle and drove away. At this time, police are investigating this incident and are asking anyone with information that can lead to the culprits to contact the nearest police station. And in San Pedro town, a 16-year-old male minor is being accused of having sexual intercourse with a 15-year-old female minor. On Wednesday, November 22, 2023, while police were following a missing person report, they found the missing 15-year-old minor at a residence in San Pedro town in the company of a 16-year-old male minor. The female reported that she did engage in sexual relations with the 16-year-old male. A medical examination was conducted on the female and the doctors certified that she was carnally known. The police investigation continues. Tonight, there is still no indication on whether the largest sugarcane farmer association, the BCFA, will accept a proposal made by BSI-ASR to extend the current commercial agreement for a period of 4 years. At this time, we understand that the matter is still under discussion by the association as they head into their annual general meeting later this month. Now, while the BSAFA is yet to take a definitive stance on the proposal, as we told you last night, BSI-ASR believes that a long-term proposal with the BSAFA is the best option for the industry. For context, we will play a portion of that interview with Finance Director for BSI, Sean Chavarria.
Last week, we wrote the BSCFA to propose an extension of 4 years to our commercial agreement. This would be under the same terms and conditions that we have with the other three associations that we have long-term agreements with, and so it would be the same agreement. Following significant investment that we've made at the factory in terms of increasing value-added production, modernizing our logistics, improving our environmental compliance, we believe we have the foundations here to continue to grow and improve in this industry. I think what currently is lacking because of the fact that we don't have an agreement with the BSCFA is that certainty within the sugar industry, particularly here in the North, for all stakeholders to invest with confidence. And so we believe that the time is right for us to lock in a long-term agreement so that all parties are able to invest and grow the business, to reduce costs, to become more efficient. As I highlighted earlier, the drop in cane supply is a concern of stakeholders. From our end, the mill is being underutilized, and from the farmer end, if their production and yields are coming down, it would mean that their cost of production is going up. And so to ensure that we can have the mill at full capacity, and then farmers operating at a lower cost and higher efficiency, we do need to address the matter of cane supply. But the environment to do that can only be one where there is certainty, there is that encouragement to invest, and for that to happen, really you need long-term agreements with all stakeholders, with all associations. And so we feel that the time is right for us to do that. And we're coming off a year where we had a record cane price, and the indications are that sugar prices will remain positive in the upcoming year. And so it's really an opportunity for the industry to come together, collaborate more, help to drive and improve efficiency so that we can build a better future.
We have reached out to the leadership of the BSCFA for an interview on the matter. We will have that for you in Friday's newscast. It is of note that the BSCFA has a new chairman of the Committee of Management after Fred Ortega has completed his tenure of 2 years. The new chairman is Elvis Reyes from BSCFA Corozal branch. Barring a disruption from the weather or any other external factor, the 2023-2024 sugarcane crop season is expected to commence in early December. At this time, both farmers and the millers are finalizing last-minute preparation for the start of the crop season. In an update on Wednesday, Finance Director for BSI, Sean Chavarria, outlined the factory's readiness to begin the grinding of sugarcane as early as December 11th.
We had targeted to start around the middle of December. That still remains our target. We should be meeting associations, I believe, in the next week to start talking about preparations, their readiness as well for the start of crop, how their fields are looking, what are the road conditions. These are usually the topics that we discuss as we anticipate and then agree a start date for the crop. But from our end, preparations are well underway. Our maintenance schedule has been going good and according to plan. We've put a robust maintenance plan for next year to ensure that the mill is ready to start receiving cane, to ensure that we have a very good performance next year and that we can receive all the cane that's available. So I think that's, in summary, from our standpoint, where we are in terms of our preparations.
Over the past 2 consecutive crop seasons, the northern sugar industry has seen a major reduction in the amount of cane production based on several factors, including climate conditions. With the current sugar prices at an all-time high, Chavarria says there is much to be done to ensure a boost in production across the entire sector.
BSI has about 10% of the cane, so we have a general idea of what the conditions are. But certainly we depend a lot on the industry bodies for that analysis. And this year, the Sugarcane Production Committee has been doing that analysis. There was a meeting last week to present some data. The indication is that we should have about 5% more cane next year, so around 1,050,000 tons of cane. We'll take any increase. Obviously we would want more cane. That continues to be a challenge and concern, the dropping cane supply. But the indications are from the field assessments and the report is that we should have slightly above or maybe similar levels of cane as we did for the 2023 crop. We also know that we're in an El Nino year, so that means the conditions are drier. The expectation is that for December and into January, the weather conditions should be drier, which is more conducive for the harvesting to start. So that's why we're targeting a December start to take advantage of drier conditions, and hopefully we finish by June of next year, so that we avoid going into the normal rainy season here in Belize.
At this time, BSI ASR is piloting several projects with the overall goal of helping farmers to boost their yields, which would then result in more revenue for the entire industry.
Looking at what has transpired in 2 years, I don't think anyone wants to see a repeat of there being interruptions to the crop. As we've indicated, the sugar prices are looking better. The first cane price estimate that we issued 2 weeks ago is higher than last year and one of the highest that we've paid. And so there is that optimism in the industry. And I think because of that, no farmer wants to see a delay. So I think worst case scenario is that we don't sign a long-term agreement. It's a shorter one. But I don't expect that we will have any disruptions or interruptions to the crop, because farmers are seeing the prices that are being paid. They're already seeing the signal for next year. And so I think the sentiment from the farming community is that we need to start the crop on time and try to get in all the cane, and then we can start to see the returns of the and ensure that we avoid the rainy season next year. So we're not anticipating that there will be any difficulties to the start of crop. It's really just a matter of the stakeholders agreeing a date and BACFA and BSI reaching an agreement, be it for 4 years or a shorter period of time.
Police have confiscated a suspicious bag found aboard a bus in the Toledo district on Thursday morning, found to have contained cannabis. At about 4 a.m. at a joint police and customs checkpoint in Santa Elena Village, Toledo district, they stopped and conducted a search on a commuter's bus, which resulted in the discovery of a bag that contained 9 parcels of suspected cannabis. None of the passengers claimed the bag. The 9 parcels were weighed and amounted to 4,242 grams, or 9.3 pounds of suspected cannabis. All parcels were sealed, labeled, and deposited as found property. We are nearing the end of November, and in Belize, that means the flu season is on. If you want to prevent your child, or yourself for that matter, from the influenza, then getting the seasonal flu shot is the best preventative measure. In order to avoid a high number of flu infections, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has taken up the task of training health officials on the topic of influenza surveillance. The training took place in the city today and was facilitated by consultants from PAHO.
We're gathered here today. We're working along with PAHO, consultants who have come in to review what are influenza and other respiratory virus surveillance. In the past, we have been seeing primarily just COVID since the pandemic started in 2020. However, now we see that we have to get back to what was our original respiratory surveillance, which is inclusive of influenza, other respiratory viruses, and now even COVID. So we are revising our plans. We do have our plans in place. However, now that there is an integration of all these viruses, we need to make one complete respiratory virus surveillance. So we have consultants who have come in to review these plans, to give some updates to how to strengthen surveillance, how to strengthen our lab capacity, and basically those who are here today are key players or personnel who will then be enforcing this surveillance within the different regions, within the different districts. So that's the idea to have this. We're developing the roadmap that will eventually lead to an overall updated manual, because the manual does exist. However, we just need to strengthen those components and see where we can make value of those. During COVID, a lot of measures were in place. The public health measures of social distancing, the wearing of masks, the use of hand sanitizers, hand washing, those really helped. But the moment we got back to some normalcy and those public health measures were lifted, then you saw all these viruses coming into play again. So we did see an increase in influenzas, respiratory viruses, all of those were starting to show. So we knew that once those public health measures were lifted and people started gathering again, the schools, in children, for example, that's where we see these increase of cases first. And they're the ones that would primarily take it back to the home. So we did see that and we did expect that.
International consultant for PAHO, Dr. Ayana Wellington, says Belize is already on the right path, and today's session was to strengthen the Ministry of Health's influenza surveillance capacity.
The COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in an increased interest in respiratory viruses. But respiratory viruses are not just about SARS-CoV-2, which is a causative agent. There's also influenza that has been with us for a long time. And Belize has done a lot of work, even before SARS-CoV-2 came along, in establishing and strengthening surveillance systems. So this workshop is to help to integrate SARS-CoV-2 surveillance into pre-existing surveillance systems so we can monitor what's happening with all of the viruses of interest, SARS-CoV-2, influenza, and other respiratory viruses. And the country has already done quite a bit of work, so this is enhancement and strengthening, not developing something new.
So the transition shouldn't be that difficult?
Yes, because something existed before, so we're simply strengthening what already is in place, and we also are learning from what happened with SARS-CoV-2, because respiratory viruses remain a threat to human populations.
Coming up next, the walking pneumonia detected in mainland China. Belize on alert. Stay tuned.
Sign up for Smart Share Plan and save big. Whether you're a small entrepreneur starting up your business, a student on a limited budget, or a family trying to save, this is the plan for you. With unlimited SMS, calls, and data, we help you save. Get up to 5 lines for as low as $30 per line monthly, only with Smart. Sign up today at any Smart showroom or sales manager countrywide. So get your business going, share more memories with friends, and be ready for the day with Smart.
Walking pneumonia is a non-medical term for a mild case of pneumonia. A more medically correct term will be atypical pneumonia and can be caused by certain molds, viruses, or bacteria. Bed rest or hospitalization are usually not needed, and symptoms can be mild enough that you can continue your daily activities, hence the term walking. But don't be fooled. Walking pneumonia can still be miserable and is commonly accompanied by a cough, fever, chest pain, mild chills, headaches, similar symptoms to those of COVID or even the flu. Walking pneumonia has been registered in mainland China, and with experiences learned from the COVID-19 pandemic, Belize is already on alert mode, says epidemiologist at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Russell Manzanero.
We have been alerted from PAHO WHO of this situation. And as we did in the past with any new or novel suspected viruses like this of public health concern, it does raise an alert globally. Belize is one of those member states that are part of the international health regulations. So as soon as there is an alert of anything unusual or suspected, then we are alerted and we become aware of that. So at this time, well, the plans are definitely that to look at new or other respiratory viruses.
It is common knowledge that the proper disposal of garbage and flammable materials is important for environmental protection. Doing so has many benefits such as reducing pollution of water sources, fewer health risks, improving air quality, minimizing the risk of spreading disease, and the list can continue. While it is a shared responsibility to take care of our environment and dispose of our waste property, whenever you walk around town, it is eminent that you will find garbage in drains, outside of the garbage drums, or scattered in an abandoned lot that collectively speaks about the civic pride of a community. But it is understandable that behavior change takes time and patience, but must be constant. A volunteer from Japan knows that all too well and has decided to invest her time to teach students about environmental responsibility through her program branded Us and Garbage. She has adopted 6 schools in Corozal to do that with standard 3 and 4 students. Though her English is not as perfection, Anna Shirai told us how she goes about doing the volunteered work she does.
I'm teaching environmental education for primary school students. So my focus is to reduce the garbage from this town. So there are a lot of garbage on the road, and so we have to pay attention, and we have to take care our garbage for our town.
Shirai traveled from Japan to Belize and is here to volunteer her time for 2 years. She told us why she made the 30-plus hour plane flight from her Japan home to Belize to teach environmental awareness.
We have to protect our environmental to live in the earth. So we have a responsibility to keep our environmental, to keep our living place by our service. Now is so in the class, and I'm planning after that I want to go to outside to pick up garbage and to how many garbage in here. This is important to students to notice how many garbage in this town. I'm teaching my class in English, but so my English skills is so poor, as you know. So I'm trying using a picture, and so the teacher helping me, and so student also helping me to understand what I want to say. Yeah, and I'm using a lot of picture.
So everybody helps.
Yes. So I want to say thank you everyone, because every people helping me. So student also helping me, and teacher also helping me, and town officer is always helping me.
It is estimated that globally 2 billion tons of waste is produced annually. In order to keep our communities clean and green for future generations, it is imperative that you place your unwanted materials or garbage in the right place. 2 days ago, the Ministry of Rural Transformation, Community Development, Labor, and Local Government, in collaboration with the Occupational Safety and Health Working Group, started what will be a number of occupational safety and health consultations. The OSH bill, as it is largely referred to, has been a work in progress for almost 2 decades. But it seems that under the present administration, the OSH bill will be before Cabinet before years and the year 2023 comes to an end.
This has been a work in progress, and I think it's very important that I outline the timeline of the various activities that have been happening. As you're aware, we had to actually write, the unions, the National Trade Union Congress of Belize. We wrote them, so that they would be able to make their submissions to our ministry in terms of the OSH bill. After a very, long time, they did make their submissions. And immediately after, making their submissions, what we did is we put together a working committee comprised of the various, partners, the tripartite partners and other agencies. And what we did is the working committee immediately reviewed the submissions that were made by the unions, as well as our very own submissions from our staff. Once that was completed, that revision completed, we actually then started the process of stakeholder consultation. And basically, there are 3 big groups of stakeholders that we are consulting with, and I am happy to say that has gotten off on the ground. The first one was, just our public partners, so government ministries and other agencies were consulted for their input and their views. We have completed that, and I believe that, I think it was yesterday, that we also had another very important consultation in which we consulted with the unions and the business community. And again, that went very well. Very many very good recommendations were made. We have taken those things into account. And then the final consultation has to do really with, the industry, the big companies. And that is coming up very soon. Once that is completed, we go back to the drawing board, to look at all the recommendations, compile all the recommendations that were made, to tidy up the work.
But is a 3-month extension necessary before the Occupational Safety and Health Bill goes to Cabinet? Minister of Labor Oscar Kenya says the document is one that requires deep analysis. However, it will become law.
This OSH bill is a very long bill. We're talking about, I believe, something like 69 pages. So it's a very big document. So we are going to review that. We get it ready, and then we take it to cabinet. With all the recommendations being made, cabinet is going to get an opportunity, of course, to be able to review, to make their recommendations, and we're hoping that all of this work is going to get done by December, and then once that is complete, cabinet has had an opportunity to look at it and to make its contributions and recommendations. We then get ready to take that bill to the House, and I'm going to say that we made a commitment that we are going to ensure that we take that bill to the House, and we are going to pass the OSH bill to ensure that our workers are protected across this country. We are hoping that certainly by the latter part of December, at the latest would be early January, that document would go to cabinet. I just want everybody to understand and appreciate that this is quite a lot of work. And if we are going to get it done, we must do it right. And that is why it has taken us some time to be able to go through this process. And we want to make sure that, everybody affected, impacted in one way or the other, has an opportunity to be able to make their contribution. And at the end of the day, the end product is going to be one that can work for all Belizeans.
So the unions are saying that, there have been several notable work-related accidents for this year. I believe 2 of them fatal. Right. Would you concede then that the quicker you guys get the OSH bill settled, it would be in the best interest of everybody involved?
Well, first of all, I want to start off by certainly, extending our deepest condolences to those families that have been affected by those tragic incidents. It's unfortunate, but I am reassuring everyone that we are working on this, and whatever the outcome is, we will ensure that at the end of the day, it is going to be there to protect the rights of workers, and that is what we are going to do.
The unions and other entities have been calling on government to push the OSH bill and make it part of our law, since it dictates the safety of both employers and employees. In recent memory, on October 25th, a man fell to his death from a height of 35 feet after a cable holding up a basket he and his work colleague were in broke. Reading to young children is an important way to help them build language skills. It exposes them to new words and ways of using language. It also helps them to learn general information about the world, which makes it easier for them to learn about new subjects once they get to school. With this in mind, the Department of Youth Services in Corozal, in commemoration of Youth Month, is engaging with 6 preschools in the Corozal district to carry out what they call a Read With Me Day. We caught up with one session in progress at the Corozal Nazareth Preschool.
Today's activity is a Read With Me activity that we are targeting 6 preschools here in Corozal district, and we are also collaborating with the primary education students from Corozal Junior College. One of the reasons why we are doing this activity is part of our activities commemorating Youth Month.
The experience was beneficial for both students and their invited storytellers.
When the Department of Youth Services started planning our Youth Month activities, we came about with the Read With Me program, and one, to target the primary ed young students that are studying for primary school teachers. We wanted to get them involved, and also 2, because reading is very important for today. So we wanted to highlight reading with our primary schools students, and that is one of the reasons why the program is happening today.
I feel happy. My story was about Noah, and I think that they were happy of knowing this story too. Some of them were already know it, so some of them didn't. So I think they learned about this story, and I loved that they could learn it too.
And then you sang the song with your partner.
Yes, I sing it because it was like an activity for them and for them to enjoy themselves as well as us.
Child labor is an ever ongoing global issue. In Belize, the government has been taking steps to combat the societal inadequacy that includes commercial sexual exploitation, which is oftentimes tied to human trafficking. This was largely notable after GOB approved the National Child Labor Policy and Strategy in 2022. The document aims to eradicate the worst forms of child labor by 2025 and has on priority addressing legislative and informal gaps, strengthening child labor law compliance, and enhancing access to education. Today, ministers of government and high-ranking officials were joined by stakeholders and students to witness what has been dubbed as the child labor closing ceremony.
Today is indeed a very special day in which we have seen the culmination of a national campaign and awareness program to end child labor across Belize. So today what we are seeing are the highlights. We brought together the students who participated, the winning entries. We had paintings, we had billboards, we had animation videos, several activities that were carried out. And today what we wanted to do was really to highlight that work, that wonderful work that took place across the country, and to highlight the winners. Of course, we want to thank and congratulate all the students, all the teachers, all the principals, everybody who collaborated. This work is a joint effort by our Ministry of Rural Transformation, Community Development, Labor and Local Government, and of course UNICEF, ILO Belize, and the National Committee for Families and Children, our National Committee to End Child Labor, among other agencies. So it's a collaborative work, and today is a day of celebration to celebrate, the achievements of those students, and really to create a greater awareness, to all Belizeans that we must all work together to end child labor and to ensure that we create the opportunities for our young children to be able to grow healthy, to be nurtured, to get a good education, and to become good, productive citizens.
But while today's campaign ended with a day of celebration, what systemic changes have been witnessed since the approval of the National Child Labor Policy and Strategy? Minister of Labor Oscar Requena says the document is a work in progress. However, with big industry signing an MOU that they will not employ minors, speaks of government's intention to eradicate child labor.
Well, I think it's important that we highlight that last year, we presented our national child labor policy and strategy. And certainly our goal and objectives are to ensure that by 2025, we eliminate all forms of child labor in Belize. We're certainly working very hard, and this is all in line with the SDGs, in which we have made international commitments, and we have an obligation as a country, to work together to achieve those goals.
Despite the work, we heard today that about roughly 100,000 Belizean children were involved in child labor on some level. How does that make you feel?
Yes, well, certainly there's a lot of work to do. I mean, I believe that, we have made great progress, but it's a work in progress. We must continue to, ensure that we work with the various industries. And today, I think a very important thing also that I almost forgot to mention is that today we also saw the signing of, various memorandum of understandings with, the Citrus Association, the Sugarcane Associations of Northern Belize, in which they are committing to work along with us, as industry, to ensure that, they are very much aware that they have a very important task to ensure that, they do not employ, children in very hazardous and challenging situations, that we protect our children, and that at the end of the day, we all work together to build a better Belize.
This Saturday, the Village Council for San Andres in the Corozal District will be celebrating their annual San Antonio Day at the football field located in the community. According to the organizers, the day will be filled with rich culture as the event celebrates the history of the village and emphasizes on the importance of safeguarding the founding of the community.
The San Andres Village Council with the chairman, Mr. Israel Gomez, and his council. They are keeping up the San Andres Day. They want to keep the tradition in celebrating the San Andres Day. That is also in commemoration of the Saint San Andres. The church will also be having their ceremonies for that day as well, But also the village council is doing their part. So basically, the objective is to keep up the celebration of the San Andres Day, Saint San Andres. Saturday, 25th November, the activities will be starting at 9 a.m. sharp until, because in San Andres, people like to participate in these activities. But it's going to be a long day of activities. It's a family-oriented day. In the morning, we'll be starting with activities for the kids. We'll be having plug and wire, grease the pig, grease the pole, horseback riding, and other activities that comes along with it. In the evening, we'll be having an official ceremony at 2 p.m. Organized again by the council. So we'll be having an official ceremony. We're having somebody from the council that will be presenting on the history of San Andres, the establishment of San Andres, the first settlers, and give a brief history of the village, Because the village do have a rich history. We need to keep up that history so the younger generation have an appreciation for the village. Later in the night, we'll be having a dance with a DJ that will be having a dance for whoever participates, There'll be refreshments, food, and so forth for the day, The council has solicited some donations. Chairman himself is contributing on behalf of his factory. I will also be supporting every activity. You're having winners, So we certainly award them with a prize for their participation, And we want to encourage not only the residents, villagers of San Andres to come and celebrate, but this is an open invitation. It's a cordial invitation. It's open up to all Corzaleños and Belizeans in a whole in the country. Come and celebrate, man. Come and celebrate village life in San Andres,
Everyone is invited to San Andres Day this Saturday, November 25th, 2023, starting from 9 a.m. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Friday, November 24th here on CTV3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/CTV3BelizeNews or our YouTube channel at CTV3NewsBZ. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.